have perfect parents. We know there's no such thing as a perfect parent, right? I have perfect parents. And so I've spent a lot of my time wondering, how could you not get this shit right? Your parents were amazing.
I too have rose-colored glasses sometimes. There are also things that I wish, were different. I mean, I really don't want to blame my parents for things, and I don't want my kids to be blaming me.
Dude, having daddy issues was like, it served me for so long. I lost the physical being, but I actually have not lost the relationship, and I've completely redefined it. I'm closer to my dad now than he was when he was alive.
I think parents do the best they can.
And I think I would add on that I think just humans, I think just people are doing the best that they can.
Hello and welcome to Diamond Bridges. I'm your host, Irene Diamond. I'd like to think that I had the perfect childhood. My parents were wonderful, and sometimes I literally feel like the luckiest woman in the world for having contributed 4 wonderful children, 2 sons and 2 daughters of my own. They're all young adults now, but it's really them that motivate me to create and produce Diamond Bridges. I want to keep the dialogue going with these millennials and Gen Z, as I am personally and professionally intrigued by what I learn from these grassroots generations. I believe they teach us what the world is craving. Grieving has not come easily to me, but I have had my share of hopes, fears, and losses, and they've all created more kindness and truth in my life. In this episode, my guests open up to me about their perspectives about blaming parents as it relates to the rebellious nature of the grieving process. Please watch.
You mentioned chaos, having grown up with 5 siblings. Quite frequently, as adults, we look back and we blame our parents, we blame our upbringing for the way we are today, but I mean, everyone has an upbringing, right? So at what point do you separate yourself from that excuse to be rebellious because one of your parents was disciplinary, or your mother with her faith, or that maybe there's some guilt if you don't, I don't know. I'm just saying, like, how do you separate yourself and become who you are without blaming your parents or despising your upbringing?
Yeah. I find myself on the other side of that, and this is coming through in some of my writing, Irene. And again, I say this cautiously and with intention. I have perfect parents. We know there's no such thing as a perfect parent, right? I have perfect parents. And so I've spent a lot of my time wondering, how could you not get this shit right? Your parents were amazing. You had everything.
Oh,
How did you not get life right? How is it you've been married and divorced twice?
yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
How is it that you went through a bankrupt? How is that possible?
Yeah.
When the Callaways were freaking perfect? They were amazing. So I've spent a lot of time on the other side of that. And what is my, fighting through the thing that I had no excuse to, you have no excuse to screw this part of your life up. You have no excuse.
Yeah, I know. I too have rose-colored glasses sometimes. My previous husband said that I had the perfect childhood, and I think I did too, There are also things that I wish, were different. I feel like, there's a few things, but
There are always things.
yeah, I mean, I really don't want to blame my parents for things, you know, and I don't want my kids to be blaming me, you know? Like, get your life and stop blaming me. Like, you know, we all have
Mhm.
to work at this, like, right?
Yeah.
Everybody has to work at it.
I think it goes back to that it serves you for a point. So if you can ask yourself why and how did it serve me? And then from there to then also ask yourself why and how is it not serving me any longer? And that's been the crux for me, is like, dude, having daddy issues was like, it served me for so long, right?
Mm.
It served me for so long. And I can say that like confidently, being aware that that was something that kept me in a learning loop that was what I wanted.
They serve you, mean your successes. It added to, contributed to your successes.
I think it served my sense of being. I don't think it was about my success. I think it served my sense of self. It was like
That's what I mean in a general
yeah,
sense.
right. It's like I am not Mary from, you know, Flatland, Colorado with this X, Y, and Z, if not for this part of that puzzle. And then I started to realize, okay, now will the physical being no longer even exist? But yet the relationship does, and I get to choose to nurture that relationship in a new way. And that's been, I mean, grief for me at the end of the day has been the most healing and forgiving experience. I lost the physical being, but I actually have not lost the relationship, and I've completely redefined it. I'm closer to my dad now than he was when he was alive.
Oh,
I
wow.
could not have this conversation with you right now if I knew my dad was physically on this earth. He's with me right now. He's congratulating me. He was not capable to congratulate my experience and my complication of our experience when he was physically here. So there's, you know, I feel like it's been that transition has been healing for us in the most absurd but profound way, that it doesn't serve me any longer. And I think we needed in our relationship a macro change. And I wish for so many it doesn't have to be death that creates that, because fuck, you know.
Yeah,
Ow,
I get it.
ow.
But my next question though is, yeah, you know, maybe you are making, I mean, you're in a process. Life is a process.
Yeah.
So my question would be, maybe you are making wrong assumptions, you know, about maybe he was proud of you and he didn't.
He was. I know this.
You know,
I know this to be true. He always was. And the thing is that he just didn't have the tools or the capacity to, you know, like, it's, to me, it's not personal. I actually like, and I could have told you this when he was alive, and I would say this to him now, and I can tell you now, it was just like one of my couples therapists with my husband and I can never remember, but there's 3 buckets, and it's like, do they not want to? Do they not know how? Do they not know what? It's like those things. And I was like, I just think he just didn't know how. Like, it goes back to what you were saying. It's like, we're all just doing the best that we can. Like, they were perfect. So then,
and
then
that's
why
what
was I not perfect?
I think most parents, and you know, from all different walks of life, Joy, I think most parents do the best they can. And people say, how can you say that? You know, because clearly this one ended up in prison, or this one, you know, is an alcoholic, or, you know, and how can you say that about a parent? But no, I mean, like, for who they are with all of their limitations or no limitations, I think parents do the best they can. And
I think I would add on that I think just humans, I think just people are doing the best that they can. I don't even think that it's
that's a good way to look at life as well.
yeah,
Giving
with what we're resourced with.
Of the doubt, right?
Yeah. Yes. And that, honestly, that goes back to one of my things, which is a generous perspective. If you assume, my assumption is that we're all doing the best that we can, even if that in that moment we are hungry, angry, lonely, or tired.
Yes. Yeah.
We're doing what we can.
Friends.
With what we got.
Yeah, see that. But you know what? You might get those friends back later. You'll see. You'll see.
And if not,
Sometimes life goes full
She's
circle.
probably in a place where if not,
Yeah.
she's okay.
Right.
Joy, it might be okay.
Right. Sometimes we let the trash take itself out. Somebody told me.
Oh my God, say that again.
Not
Sometimes.
saying your friends are trash. I'm just saying. Someone told me sometimes you let the trash take itself out.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
My two guests, Mary Allard and Joy Calloway, were extremely generous in sharing their intimate realities with me regarding their grief process. Both of them actually value grieving, and I learned so much from both of them. They taught me that the grief journey produces a generous perspective. This is potent stuff. When we tie together the various episodes of Diamond Bridges and the overall development that talent drives our sense of purpose, we come to learn that the grief process generates a generous perspective toward those around us and around our very own intimate experiences. The grief process unveils our hunger, our anger, our loneliness, and our tired, outgrown perspectives. The grief process demands a resolution and drives us to get after it, compels us to determine what's next. See you again on Diamond Bridges. If you learned something new in this episode, please tune in to watch all the episodes on the topic of grief.